Hello, Taurus, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of April 19th through the 25th. And during that time, we have a waxing crescent moon for most of the week, and that's a time of heightened senses, a good time for us to buckle down and get to work on those things that we've decided to do during the new moon. So we're going to make plans and start to get those projects started. This could be things both inner and outer, but to live up to our expectations a little bit this week. Then towards the end of the week, the first quarter moon does come in on the 24th, 25th, depending on where you are. And that is a time when you might feel impulsive and patient. Maybe your mind's a little bit active and it's hard to buckle down and get things done. So it's just a time for us to be in control and to dominate our impulses and just to, it's like a little gift at the universe, like, can you do this? So just keep that in mind as we're moving through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Taurus. So as always, please take what resonates today and leave what doesn't for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is balance, spirituality, and practicality. All right, so let's see what the Taurus Collective is trying to balance out when it comes to your spiritual and practical life, something that we should all be kind of aware of all the time. That's a hard thing to do. Are we making decisions based on our spiritual life and what we're learning? And are we living that way? That's really the thing. But anyway, let's get into this reading. As I'm shuffling, my fun weekly reminder this week, Taurus, is that you try to get yourself out into nature. I know if you're like me, I'm in the Midwest and it's just been beautiful. It's warming up, everything's blooming and it's been really pretty. So try to get yourself out, get a walk in if you can, or go find just a beautiful setting. Even if it's at night, get out and see the stars if it's not cloudy where you are. But just try to get yourself out into nature and just let yourself relax and take it in for a little bit. All right, let's get into this reading. Taurus for April 19th through the 25th. Balance, spirituality, and practicality. Your present energy right now is the Death card. So something, if you're balancing your spiritual life and the practical life, it could just be something that you are giving up. And the biggest example to me would be that you learn something spiritually and you decide, oh, I've been doing this wrong. I've been living my life in this particular way. And now, based on this new thing that's been revealed to me, I'm going to change and live my life a different way. So typically it does mean giving something up. And this could, it could just be a way of thought, a way of thinking that you're like, oh, I've been thinking this all wrong and I've learned this way. And now I'm going to just make that adjustment. I'm going to not think that anymore. And I'm going to move forward with this new information. So, of course, it's the Death card. I do have to say that it could be something about actual death for someone around you, or might be something that you're dealing with or being sensitive to someone else about. But typically the Death card isn't about actual real death. It is about giving something up or letting something go, just letting something die, right? Your current situation right now is the Eight of Wands. So things happening very quickly. So it could be that things are coming in and you're learning things very quickly. And that's why you're like, oh, I'm going to give this up. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to be this way anymore. And of course, anytime that you're letting go of one way of being, it just opens up space for you to be a different way. So some things are happening. Could just be that information's coming in very quickly. Things are happening fast. That's making you kind of change your mind, make these decisions. At the root of your situation this week is the Six of Cups, which of course is always about nostalgia. This could be, maybe this whole thing is brought on by a conversation that you have with a friend or a family member. It could be, and it's just something that it's the root of it. It's almost like, the catalyst that makes you, and again, it could be a conversation, it could be a memory or something that you have that's nostalgic, but it's making you change your way of thinking about something, right? So, again, just new information revealed. It could be a conversation. It could just be some realization that you're having yourself. But keep that in mind and keep in mind, how does that affect your spiritual life, and how does that then go on to affect your practical life, like what you're doing day to day and how you're living. All right, in your recent past, here is the Seven of Swords. So is this you or someone else? This is typically the swords. This is about someone being cunning or crafty. This could be about some sort of theft or hidden agenda, something. And maybe that's something that was revealed to you here. but it's coming in from your past, and also, kind of having this effect on you that you're, I want to say almost like sometimes we just put puzzle pieces together and things that don't quite make sense. And then you look at something that recently happened to you and a conversation that you had, and something just clicks, right? You have like these little paradigm shifts, and this happens all the time. So think about, is there something in your past here that is kind of causing your current way of wanting to let go of something, or make room for something else? What is on your mind this week is the tower. So maybe you're trying to avoid some sort of tower or some sort of interruption. Again, it could be an actual death that you're dealing with. It could just be someone around you has lost someone, and you're helping to deal with that. It could be that you have a tower moment that makes you also realize that there is something that you need to give up. And towers are just, you don't have to be huge disruptions, but they are a disruption. It's like an obstacle or some rude awakening, that's put in front of you. But those are, and I know it's really hard to think about it in the moment when you're dealing with a delay or you're dealing with something that didn't work out the way you want it to. But those are our little tests and challenges that come with just come with life. If you're not having challenges, you're not alive. So those little challenges that come up that do teach us and make us grow and become better people and stronger. It's just really hard in the minute to, when you're in the moment, to see it, to be like, oh, this is a challenge from the, you're just like, oh, what a pain in the butt, whatever it is you're having to deal with. And if things are happening quickly and you're dealing with things like that, just know that, think about, it's very hard to think about the outcome. And sometimes those kind of little things like that are very life changing, and you can't see it in the moment. You just can't. It's impossible. Again, because you're just dealing with it. But don't worry, try to keep it in your mind that maybe a few weeks out, you'll be able to look back and say, oh, I learned X, Y, and Z from this. And if you can learn those things, you don't get to have that challenge again. It just never comes back up. You learn it and you move on. What is just ahead of you this week, Taurus, is the Ace of Cups. So, well, thank goodness there's some sort of something. There's something about this that you do love. There's some sort of outpouring of you're just like, oh, and maybe it is this new way of being again. And maybe whatever you are letting go of just opens up room for more love in your life from some area, right? It's just, again, I just getting this feeling of like that you're understanding something that you've never understood before. It just makes perfect sense right now. What is in your advice position here, Taurus, is the Judgment card. So, judgment is about, excuse me, new information that comes in that does change our perspective. And like I said, a paradigm shift. When you get new information, you make a judgment. And this could just be a judgment of yourself, or, a judgment of something else. But it is definitely about having this new awareness. Some new information emerges or comes to the surface that kind of makes you see the truth. You evaluate a whole situation. And again, with all of these different elements that come in to play, the advice is to go ahead, take that in, and have that new awareness, have that paradigm shift. I wouldn't be surprised right now in the rest of your reading to see even like maybe the Fool card come up, or the Hanged Man also. Those two cards, which is kind of about new starts, new perspectives. We'll see. What is beyond your control this week is the Ten of Cups. So beyond your control is this will lead to you feeling very happy and very balanced. You again, it's almost like this disruption. You're like, it's kind of a blessing in disguise kind of thing. So keep that in mind, because it's beyond your control that you are going to feel like very happy, very balanced. That's one of the happiest cards in the deck. What is your secret desire, or what are you trying to avoid, is the Three of Pentacles, which is about coming together and collaborating with other people. And it might be that you want to do that this week, and you want to maybe share some of this, or you're trying to avoid that altogether. You're just not quite ready for that. Again, there's no right or wrong answer with the cards in this position. It's kind of your big question of the week. So is it your secret desire to come together, collaborate, share, whatever's going on with you, or not? And that's just a good thing for you to ask yourself. Do I want to share this with others yet, or am I not quite ready? That may come later. Either, again, there's no right or wrong answer there. In your outcome position here, Taurus, is the Eight of Cups, which has you moving off into the future, but very supportive and kind of seeking something. Again, if this is something that comes to light, and it's fine. It's you're learning, and now you're just going to go off into a different kind of direction because you've learned something. That's all that means. So what's hidden from you here at the bottom of the deck is the Four of Wands here, which is about, like a celebration. This can be the card of a wedding. This is not really at the forefront of your thoughts this week. If that's something you've been working on or planning, that might come back to you next week. But this, you're dealing with this week, whatever this new information and this new perspective change. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if you come back next week and see either the Fool card or what did I say? The Hanged Man. Those are cards about new perspectives, and kind of new paths and new starts. And I wouldn't be surprised. I feel like you're kind of in a transitional phase this week, because you're learning something new. All right, let's see. I'll get a wrap-up card here from the Soul Oracle deck for Taurus. Final message here for Taurus this week, as there's a tower on your mind. I'm trying to kind of reiterate here. Something that you love comes out of this. Whatever ending is happening, it happens very quickly. But I feel like you do love the new situation, and you're heading very positively, right into the future. This card flew right out. We're going to take it. This card says, speak up. So maybe there is something this week that you do need to speak up about. You're going to know. Each of you will individually know exactly what I mean and when that time comes to mind. Let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care. Self-care for Taurus this week. If I can get my hands to work. Come on, hands. Self-care for Taurus. Okay, the card that comes up for you is the card called Time. Time spent worrying is time spent. Yeah, so whatever this is, we're not going to worry about it. Maybe speak up. If there's some sort of concern, things coming in quickly, again, nostalgia comes to mind, maybe something not quite, maybe some kind of hidden agenda from the past, something comes up for you. But I think you get right through it. I think there's something that comes out of it that you're like, oh, and it makes you just kind of open your heart and love things a little bit more. And you're going to have a new perspective with this Judgment card. But again, look at all these cups in the end. I feel like you're happy about things by the end of the week, and you're going to move in positively with some support at your back. So, Taurus, thank you so much for being here. I do hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use in a positive way in your life this week. If you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment down below and let me know, what's going on. Did you make a judgment about something? Did you have some tower or some situation with that death card that you just decided to let go of some way of being, and make room for something maybe a little bit more positive? But drop me a comment and let me know if you're comfortable. Also, if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe really helps me, and I appreciate that so much. So thanks in advance for adding me, and I appreciate that. Also, it'll help you find me next week. Come back and we'll see if some of those cards we were talking about earlier appear in your reading next time. So thanks again for being here, Taurus. Good luck, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.